Hey, what's up, guys? It's Josh with Paparazzi Imaging and Films, and this is episode 8 of the Vignette podcast. We have a special guest on our show today, Robbie Good. He's a really close friend of mine. We've been working together in the motocross industry for quite some time now, and I'm excited to have him on the podcast. It's always good to have a familiar face that I know, and I'm really good friends with somebody that I kind of created a relationship with. So, here's Robbie Good. How's it been, man? How's life? How's motocross going for you? And outside of that too.
Things have been absolutely awesome. This year has been a really big building year for me. It's no secret. I've been hurt a lot. I've hit the deck way too many times. So this year it's just been about building very small building blocks. And I'm starting to see a little bit of the fruits of that. This past weekend, getting on the podium with an overall, it's just unreal for me. It's been 4 long years since I've been able to do that. So it's I mean 2 years of that I was off the bike completely, but even before that I've had a lot of gnarly injuries since I've been able to put myself back in that place. So I'm just very, very happy with where I'm at. I'm excited to just keep building and like I said, it's just little small baby steps and I think it's gonna work out a lot better for me that way moving forward than my previous mindset for sure. So I'm
Yeah,
super
you've
stoked.
you've definitely had it rough for sure. I think one of the roughest motocross careers that I've seen come from a privateer standpoint, I would say.
Yeah, and it's I mean some of it you could kind of chalk up to bad luck. Some of it was kind of out of my hands, but the more I looked at the past of some of my more gnarlier injuries, now looking back at it a little bit more mature, I can kind of pinpoint where the issues are arising, just getting a little impatient, and just really trying to rush the process. I mean, it's always kind of the cliche of trusting the process, but I was always just trying to kind of take too many steps at once, and I would take 2 steps forward, 4 steps back, and just creating more issues for myself in the past that way.
For sure. We kind of became friends from being kind of meeting at Tomahawk MX. I was shooting a AJ Canonzero video for AJ Canonzero, and I didn't know who you were at the time. You knew who I was, and I kind of had you help me film a clip on a four wheeler. So kind of run me through how that was like on your end, kind of, meeting me for the first time.
Yeah, so I was up there just to do a one-on-one training with him. He was training for Supercross at the time, but he told me that he had a video to do beforehand, but I could just go and ride a bit before we started. And he told me that he was working with you actually, and I'm like, no way! Like I've seen your Instagram and all that. I'm like, that's sweet. So I was like, I want to check some of that out. And just watching him on a Supercross track is just it's unbelievable up that close. I mean, on TV, it doesn't do it justice. Even I think sometimes in the stands at a Supercross, you don't really get the full idea of like how gnarly these tracks are. So it was just really cool. I was hanging out watching. I was just so impressed with like the equipment you got, the way you handle everything. It's really cool to watch. So I was kind of just trying to get my hand in there anywhere I could just to be a part of it. So it was cool running the four wheeler for you, getting a couple shots, helping out where I could. So
Yeah, that was pretty gnarly. That was pretty gnarly because I didn't know how I was going to get a lot of those shots, and it was cool to have you be a part of that. That memory always sticks with me when I am filming moto or doing anything outside of or anything with motorsports because it's like I said, our relationship kind of started from that point on, and that leads us to now you being on my podcast and me being on your podcast, what, 2 years ago?
yeah,
Yeah, so it was pretty gnarly just the way things happened, meeting up at the track. Not even like the universe kind of just brought us together at that point.
yeah, it
Um,
was very organic, which was cool.
yeah, yeah. And I get a lot of people that are like wanting to meet me, and it's cool that, you followed me for that period of time, and then it just happened after that. We got to hang out. We shot those couple videos, or you helped me shoot those couple videos with AJ. Um, but yeah, it's really cool. Like I said, it's always been a memory that kind of sticks out to me when I'm shooting. It's like, man, if Robbie was here with that four wheeler, we'd be getting some sick content.
I'm not the best on four wheels, but I can do my best.
Yeah, right. I know, I know. So on from there, what would kind of, I don't know, you know, help me out here with my memory a little bit because it's been a long time. I think it was 2019 we did our first video, right?
Yeah, so that was my first weekend back after probably, I mean, it wasn't like duration wise the hardest, but the most painful injury when I broke my leg pretty bad, had surgery, my T6 vertebrae was cracked, and that was a very hard injury, but you were able to come out and film. It was literally my first weekend back at a track. I did like 2 days at one of my friend's backyard tracks, and I went racing. I from Friday practice to Saturday racing to Saturday night racing, their supercross thing, and then all day Sunday. So it was completely from the couch to all in. So I was very, very excited to have you be a part of that and capture that because that day sticks with me. I rode terrible that day. I know that, but um, it was very awesome to have that. And I know you were trying to get a video with me, I think even beforehand. And then I was just sidelined that whole summer leading into it. So
Right. Yeah, that was a fun trip, honestly, on my part too. Not just working with you on your video, but also like how we made that weekend happen because I think what I had to drive through the night or something like that. I left super late and I didn't get there until what, 10 o'clock or something like that. And you were
I think
sleeping in your van.
yeah, it might have been even later. I remember you knocking on the window when you finally got there, and you had like a very long drive. I forget where you're coming from. It had to have been like over 6 hours, I think.
I think I was coming from Long Island. No, not Long Island. Somewhere in the New England area, I want to say.
Okay, yeah, I remember when you said like how far you're driving. I'm like, are you sure you want to do this weekend? Like that's so gnarly. You're like, no, you're good.
Yeah, it was pretty gnarly for sure. I was super tired. I just wanted to go to sleep, but regardless, it was a fun weekend. I had a blast shooting a video with you and kind of kind of capturing the moments of your return because it was kind of a big moment for both of us, you know.
Yeah, that's a weekend that'll stick with me for a very very long time, just because there was a lot leading into that. So
hmm So what was the injury that you had? I know we've talked in the past about it and you have a lot of videos that circulate on social media. You what hit a tire on a hole shot?
yeah, so there was a tractor tire that was it had to have been at least 500 pounds. They had it on the corner to kind of block from uh if something happened to kind of keep from like bikes going into like where people are standing and stuff like that. But unfortunately, they weren't really the track wasn't very up on their maintenance per se. There was a lot of grass covering it. Even walking the track, I didn't even see the tire that was even there, and I was all the way inside gate pick, and I kind of got pinched off. And if I would have known it was there, I would have locked them up. I probably still would have hit it. But I didn't know it was there. I was just like, I'll cut through this grass. I'm still getting a bad start, but it's way better than it was. And the next thing I know, I came to pretty much a dead stop and went straight over the bars and hitting the tires. What broke my leg? I broke my tibia in two places and my fibula in one. That led to surgery on that. And when I hit the ground finally, all of those bikes are coming piling through. So I got ran over 3 or 4 times. And that's what led to my back being injured, which I didn't know I had any issues with my back about till 2 months after. I just thought the back pain I was having was due to laying on a couch for so long with my
Yeah,
leg.
being bedridden.
And it just wasn't getting better. And eventually I got that checked out and it was already pretty much healed. They were like, it's nothing we can do right now. It might give you problems later, but if we were to do anything, they'd have to re-break it. And so I've been leaving it. I haven't had any issues, thankfully, yet. So we're just staying away from that for now.
Yeah, no more injuries, man. No
Yeah.
more injuries. Injuries are so bad, especially in the sport. I have so many people come, or not, I shouldn't say so many people, but a few people on the podcast so far that have had injuries, and it's just like it could be the end of your racing career if it's bad enough.
Yeah, I've been very fortunate that I've been able to bounce back very well from all of the ones that I've had so far. But I would say honestly the hardest part of them is definitely not the pain, it's the mental aspect of it. Not even the questioning yourself or the doubt that comes with it. It's honestly the people around you can sometimes be the hardest part of it. People that don't understand the sport you're in, and why you're doing it. They just see that you're in the hospital all the time. They see that you're from their perspective, it just looks like you're throwing your life away, and they don't really see the full picture of that. And um, it was very hard for me sometimes to even want to be in public in places that around people that just don't understand the sport, because just the amount of comments that get made, and I don't think they ever mean anything mean by them or anything negative per se by it, but they just don't really understand it. And how can you blame them? I mean, if that's all you were seeing, yeah, I get it, but there's so much more to it than that. And but that's, I think, honestly, the hardest part of them all, especially this past one when I did my shoulder pretty good.
Mm. Yeah, ordinary people will never understand the what it takes to be an athlete of whether it's riding motocross, supercross, snowcross, or anything that relates to a motor. I think they just think it's you're crazy. Why do you do it? You're aging your body in such a way that you're going to be in a wheelchair, in your 40s, 50s, whatever. But it's definitely that adrenaline rush and that feeling of, I would say it's like freedom in a way. And the normal person won't understand that. And
Not at
like you
all.
said, the support group that you surround yourself with will help you get back up on your feet and get back to what you love doing for sure. Um, and that makes it all worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's that constant chase for excellence. And I think my ship has sailed in the sense of I don't think I'm ever going to be that Eli Tomac or Cooper Webb, whatever. But it's chasing the best version that I can be, the best racer I can be. And who knows where that puts me. But looking at it that way, and that's something I really learned from the time of playing hockey. My coach for the travel league I played on, he taught me so much. Just even that in ways with hockey that really just apply to my overall chase of being, whether it's racing a dirt bike, any other hobby that I'm into, the chase for excellence, by just being one step better every time. And I think that um, it's just huge, that perspective, because I think in the past, with my decision making, there was just such a focus on a place or a number or a certain level to reach, but just chasing what I can be, what can my best result be,
Hmm.
and looking at it that way.
That's a good way to look at it. So then does that really take kind of relieve the stress of, okay, I'm not gonna be like you said an Eli Tomac, but if I just put everything that I have and give it my best, does that kind of take away that stress factor of being pro and just having fun with it? Because a lot of people say they just want to have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing about me. I'm very, very competitive in all aspects of things that I do. I always want to win at everything I do. But when you take away a number or result and you just chase what can I do best, it completely takes away that pressure, because um, when you know you're giving 100%, it's and that can get twisted a little bit, because my 100% racing before was me crashing all the time.
Hmm.
But now it's just trying to take little pieces. One thing I like, just taking like one technique you want to focus on, taking uh little goals like that. Like, I'm not going to dab my foot one time this moto, and making those like that's my win. It just relieves all the pressure and it makes it more fun. And if I just say like, oh, I'm just out there to ride and have fun, to some people that might mean just cruising around and chilling. But to me, that's going as hard as I can. Um, and that's how it is for my training, everything. It's just giving it my all. And that's the fun to me, is giving it my all.
Mhm.
Um, and letting the result become the byproduct of the day is, it just makes for so much better of a time on the track or any other sport I've been doing. It's just so much more enjoyable.
What would you say is more your niche, hockey or motocross?
So as of right now, I've stepped away from hockey. So I took 2 years off from racing a dirt bike as I got into playing that. I just started playing hockey as a men's league thing. One of my friends brought me out to, and I fell in love with it. And then I ended up getting picked up to play for like a travel team. It's for roller hockey. It was called the Professional Inline Hockey Association. So that was like a travel league I got to play on, and I learned a lot through that for even just my racing. But now, as I got back onto the bike and everything, it's just very hard to balance both of those at once. I can do both of them okay, but I can do one of them really well. So as the summer is, I've just stepped away from hockey. It's hard. I enjoy it a lot, but there's just only so much time in a day. I'll be back to it for sure though. But yeah,
Mhm.
moto's my where my heart's at. It's been my thing since I was 4 years old. So
Yeah, it's your bread and butter.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I probably might be a better hockey player than I am a dirt biker, but I, like I said, I don't care about the result anymore. I'm just trying to do my best at what I love.
You're like Happy Gilmore. He's trying to play hockey, but he's a really good golf player.
Yeah,
That's funny.
exactly.
That's good stuff. So, yeah, so dirt bikes has been your thing for a long time, and I don't know. I think you're freaking talented at it. I think you got the niche. I think you got the style. You got your own style. Um, like when we worked back in 2019, it was like this dude is throwing down. He knows how to throw down on a dirt bike, and you riding dirt bikes since you were four, you kind of, comes naturally to you. How long have you been playing hockey?
So I actually started that in 2000, the end of 2019. So that was right after the time that we did the video.
Oh wow.
That's when I started playing hockey for the first time. Learned how to skate, learned how to shoot a puck. Like started from nothing. I got thrown right into a game having no idea what I was doing in just some low league men's league thing, and
Hmm.
I fell in love with it. I was playing at the rink almost 2 times a week, and when COVID happened, I was at an outdoor rink almost every day. Like it was just a grind that I fell in love with, and progressed a lot. Not the best hockey player by any means, but to be able to even get to be competitive in a travel league like that, and do that in such a short time, playing against guys that have been doing it like I was, a dirt biker at like 4 years old and been doing it forever. To even be competitive in that was a pretty surreal thing to me. It was enjoyable a lot.
That's that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So you're like Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day when he was bodybuilding and then he got into acting. What you're saying is you took the time like you did when you were riding dirt bikes when you were four, practicing, honing in your skills, and you transferred that over to hockey. Is that pretty much what you're saying?
Yeah, it's the same exact mindset. It was just applied to a different area of life, and that's the cool thing about all of this stuff, because like there's so many different hobbies that I just want to get into, and I really enjoy the aspect of sucking at something, and then just dedicating yourself to it until you maybe suck a little less or can actually get somewhat good at it. That process is maybe my favorite part about any sport, honestly. It's just being able to humble yourself, listen to what, if you have a coach, what they have to say. Like whether it was AJ on a bike or my coach in hockey, Matt, he was the absolute man. Just being able to take everything they say and applying it to yourself, um, and just giving 100% to things. I think it's so easy to be like, oh yeah, I'm giving 100% at something, and um, I feel like it's more rare than I really thought. Like so many people say it, but then when you see their day-to-day life, it just doesn't seem to be the case. And everyone falls short at it for sure. Um, but the closer you can get to that, that's where you just got to be. And it's crazy what it'll get you to.
Hmm. That's that right there is cool because I doing all the media stuff too is kind of the same way. I look at it the same way as like, all right, I'm gonna suck in the beginning and then I'm eventually gonna get better. And it's cool to hear those stories of you want to challenge yourself in a way of I'm gonna suck, like you said, and then I'm eventually gonna get to a level where it's like it's gonna become second nature. That's really cool in my eyes because there's not a lot of people out there that want to go against the grain and do something that challenges them, you know?
Yeah, it's so easy.
Like those people that you mentioned in the beginning, why do you ride moto? And you have the risk of getting injured. Yeah, it's because I love it, and it's a challenge, like you said.
Yeah, and the reward is the big side of it then too. Like, I mean, the reward thing can be a little bit tricky as well because like I'm just an amateur. I'm not winning and making money if I do. I get a little plaque, maybe some contingency money. A couple of sponsors will throw a little bit, maybe.
Hmm.
Um, but the reward is what you get in your head, like the memory you're making, uh the realizations that you can get as to what you can do outweighs any of the negative. And even in the negative of being hurt, I wouldn't trade any of my injuries for anything because of what I've learned through them. What you learn about what you can take, what you can tolerate, learning about how to take care of your body in those times. There's just so much application to just everyday life that I think is missed within sport like that.
It's very true. It is very true. It's it's a state of attrition, really, is what it really comes down to. How much are you willing to go down that road of sacrifice? You got to sacrifice your time, body, money, everything. And if you get beat down, are you just going to sit there? No, you're going to get back up because we're warriors and that's what we do, you know.
Yeah.
So you mentioned something um, about bettering yourself or going down that hole, and I want to kind of talk about you becoming a trainer now because that's kind of a different aspect or a different road, I should say, that you're going down. And I want to, see how that is with you, why you started it, um, how you got into it. Did you go to school for it? And what's the future for your, fitness? What is the name?
It's Sigra Performance.
Sigurd.
Uh,
Yep. Okay.
so I'll kind of give the little backstory on that. Sigra, it goes right along with kind of what we were talking about. I got really my last injury. I broke my collarbone. I shattered my scapula. Just had a nice hanging shoulder for a couple months. I got really into a TV series while being stuck on the couch. Vikings, I think it's just straight called that. And I got really like addicted to like the Viking culture and reading about it on top of watching the show and everything else. And Sigra is Old Norse, which is the language they used. It means to overcome or prevail. And as soon as I saw that word, I was just like, that's the name I'm going to go with for the company, just because that's the mindset of what I want to do is showing people what they can come out of and be stronger than where they were before, even though they had some crazy injury. So where it started from was just all of my injuries. I got really into reading about ways to heal faster, how to recover, and then how to get my body to perform its best around those injuries. And what I came to is just finding that I'm like absolutely a nerd for like the body. It's crazy, like how like I feel like I've been like studying it nonstop for so long now, and I still feel like I know so little. It's so awesome within that. But the overall goal with that is to been I see in other sports like a football, hockey, soccer, any stick and ball sport that you see in high school and stuff like that. It's just it's a generic thing that like if you're in that sport, you're getting put into a training program of some sort. Every
Hmm.
football player is put into a weight room, or soccer players with their drills, or they have their own training regimen. Like all of every other sport, it's just a given. And I feel like in the sport of motocross, that's not the case. If unless you are trying to be someone that's going to nationals or you're trying to become a professional, most guys just neglect the training. They're just like, oh, riding's getting me in this shape. And
Right.
in a sense, it is. But I want to be able to help people be able to make that time riding as enjoyable as possible, that they can do a whole moto without feeling like they're gasping for air and they have tunnel vision because their heart rate's through the moon, because I was there at the time.
Hmm.
Um, it's about trying to just make that time more enjoyable. And then as well, I'm really about trying to armor the body. That's been my main focus, is just making your body resilient, make it pliable, and studying down that path. The more and more I find, it's less and less weight training actually. But there's a lot of ways that you can go about with just helping to mitigate injury a little bit. There's not one specific thing that you'll ever fully be able to like be like, yes, this is going to stop you from having this injury by any means, but getting your body as prepared as possible for that. So the goal within that is to try and do that for everyone. I've been working really hard at trying to make some type of almost community like program to try and have as just a generic thing that anyone can have access to, that people can communicate within each other with and about, and try to make it almost like it's a mainstream thing to be training for motocross, just like it's any other sport.
Hmm.
So that's the main goal within it, kind of the looking ahead type thing. Right now, with where I'm at, I have a couple people that I'm working with both online and in person. And I've been learning a lot through that. Most of the people I actually don't charge a single thing. And the reason for that is it's just because I am not looking for money at this time in it. I'm just looking to learn, and they have an understanding of that side of it as well. And they're getting results out of it. It's cool to watch. So that's kind of where we're at currently. But the overall goal is to try and make it a more mainstream thing.
Hmm. That's really cool. I don't I don't see that going in a bad direction at all, especially with how your drive is towards your motocross career, you doing hockey. It's really cool that you're taking the time to work with these people for free and then just building your experience. You know, that's really cool in itself because you're like you said, you're learning more and more through the process as well. So you're a teacher to your own craft.
Yeah, exactly. And it's been fun. Like I was going to go for school for it. I dropped out of that pretty quickly. I found that the university side of things, there's a lot I could have learned from it. The degree would have been nice. There's a lot of great things that could have come from it, don't get me wrong. But the overall standing body of science with it comes to like in the universities and stuff are teaching stuff that's just honestly outdated. And that's just kind of the way it is. But I didn't agree with most things. And I found that I was going to struggle pretty hard with just differentiating what I thought was to be true and what that book is going to say. And I just knew it was going to be an issue from the get go. Um, but so right now I'm working through a lot of different certifications. I have a certification in personal training already, and I've been working through a couple different sports performance specialization trainings as well. A sports science lab that's out of California. I've been going through a lot of their courses, and they work with tons of high level athletes. So um, on that side of things, it's just been a slow, steady process as well.
So it's all online pretty much.
Yeah, I've gone to one in-person seminar, and that was really, really cool. But for the most part, it's all online courses, and some of it's just at your own pace, which is even better for me because my schedule's so hectic.
All right, all right. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Um, so kind of let's go back to riding dirt bikes a little bit. What is it about dirt bikes that made you want to come back, and what motivates you now more than ever?
Um, when I stepped away, I kind of just bought into what everyone had to say, like we were talking about before. I eventually just like, yeah, maybe this really isn't for me. I'm not going to become the next Tomac, the next Roxon. So maybe this isn't for me. And that was the wrong mindset to begin with. But eventually I just kind of bought into it. I was over it. Was tired of having those conversations. I was tired of dealing with it. I'm like, I'm going to try and find something else. And I was just getting into hockey at the time. Like maybe this can be my replacement because yeah, that sport's dangerous as well, but it's more just little minor injuries that really happen than anything. It's not quite as catastrophic, but
Hmm.
um, I lasted 2 years. About a year and a half in, I was just like, I really want to get back on the bike. Um, and once school kind of fell through and everything else, I was just like, all right, it's time to get back to this. And the reason why for me is again that chase for excellence. And the sport of motocross, I can't find another sport that's quite like it in the sense of it being the physical demanding side, the skill aspect of it. There's just so much that goes into that sport that it's just not like anything else. And at least that I've had experience with, I haven't seen anything else that takes the drive, the commitment, the time, the effort, just even on like just a local level, like just guys that want to be a weekend warrior. There's so much that goes into that, just to
Hmm.
even do that. But then if you really want to get crazy with it, like there's no real uh there's no real point where you're like doing too much. Like you can in training and everything else, but like you can always like there's always something with your bike. There's always something with your training. There's always something with riding that you can work on, and there's no real finish line within that, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
And that's what I missed. And that side of fear of possibly getting hurt. If I make a mistake, it can put me in the hospital very quickly. And that excites me in a way. I think you see that like base jumper skydivers and stuff where if you make a mistake, it's going to be catastrophic. And that side of the fear of it is exciting to some people, and I'm one of them.
You like to live dangerously, as in the words of Austin Powers.
Yeah, exactly. And like I don't my nickname growing up was Reckless, and I don't think at to this point that I'm quite that way anymore. I just have so much I'm just so competitive that I'm always going to give it my absolute all, and that's why I crash so much. I would rather mentally, and it's very hard for me to it was very hard for me to admit this before. I never would, and now I will. It's whatever because I can confidently say I've moved on from it. I would rather, if I wasn't winning a race, I would much rather crash out, trying my heart out, and being like, yeah, well, I didn't win because I crashed, but I could have if I didn't,
Hmm.
instead of just being like, no, okay, this guy's got it. I'm not there right now on this time. Let someone else have it, or whatever position that might be at whatever race. Um, but just that attitude is what kind of bit me, I think, more times than not.
Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true. You're very, very active. I would say very, very, very active, but you're pretty active on social media. You've kind of built your fan base around Instagram, I would say, with 7,114 followers. Um, and working with big brands, big companies. Um, I could see that you have Jacko Fuel shirt. So how is that working with these brands and kind of living the privateer lifestyle, as you would probably call it?
Yeah. So I look at it as another fun aspect of the racing. I don't look at that side of things as like a chore to me. I grew up in sales when I started working at 14, and I worked in sales all the way till 2020. So I have that overall mindset of trying to see what I can provide someone, what they can provide me. It's a really fun aspect of it. I don't work with too many companies like I did in the past, but the ones that I do, I actually have like a really good relationship with. Like Jocko Fuel, I talk to some of their guys a good amount. It's really awesome because that brand is everything that they have, I completely back. Like there's nothing that I wouldn't use from them, and it's all sourced in a really great way. It's all coming from their place in Maine. Everything's done in the US. A lot of people see like the Jocko Fuel that they sell energy drinks. Their energy drinks have no like sugar or anything. I'm not trying to do an ad for them right now, but like they're all stuff that like I completely back. And it's not like, oh yeah, they're my sponsor because they give me this or that. It's something that I want to wear. It's something that I want to do. And if it can be a relationship, cool. And that's where most of my help is now. And like I said, it's the fun aspect to me. I don't look at it like some people do of like, what can I get? What can I get out of this? It's what can we do as a relationship? What can we build together? That's been the bigger focus for me now. And it's just fun. We can both build, I can build their brand up, they can build my brand up. And it just goes both ways. And yeah, it's been a super fun part of it. I don't know what there was in the past. I found like I would always just try and get like as much as I possibly could out of a company. And then until it took a little while until I could kind of really actually like apply my sales mindset to it and actually really learn how to like build like a real relationship with the company.
Hmm.
So that's where I've been at now with them.
That's really cool. That's really cool. So it's basically a partnership, not really a sponsorship, as you
Yeah.
may call it. Okay.
Yep.
That's really cool. And how is how has it been with them being part of your program?
It's been awesome. So with Jocko Fuel, I use all of their products, like their supplements. They do like I said, they have their energy drinks. They have um, the whole gambit of like your protein shakes, your different fish oils, all of that, and uh, so all of that product I love to use. And then like I'm a hunter, I like doing that. They now are selling with their Origin Main side. They're now doing camos and hunting gear. That's all really awesome because it's again sourced all in the USA. Like there's not a single thing that's coming outside of the US for their product, which is so rare to find now. And that's
Yeah,
something I want to be back 100%. Um, and like I said, like I just want to be with companies that I truly want to be with. It came so organically. I was using their product before I ever spoke to them, and it's just cool to build that way rather than trying to find the best deal, trying to find this, and just working with it. It's just if I don't want to use it, I'm not gonna be a part of it. And the way they help me is again with the product and getting that. If you use my discount code, it's in my bio. Good tenant, I know to check out. It helps you out, but that also actually helps me out. I get a percentage of that, and that's been a big help. It's paid for most of my entry fees, which is really cool.
that's really cool. I wouldn't even have guessed that.
Yeah, I haven't like posted like an insane amount in recent about them, but like there's so many people that are now so hooked on the product that like friends of mine and people that follow me that it just rings in every month. Like people just keep coming back to it because it is such good stuff. Um, and it's been really awesome to work with them that way.
That's really cool. That's really cool. So you kind of got a following just from your personality, and people are supporting that through the products that you're basically using for your racing career.
Yeah, and it's awesome because I don't feel bad if someone is buying that product because like I said, I back it
Yeah, right.
fully and it's cool that everyone's getting a benefit out of it. Jocko feels getting a benefit out of it. I'm getting a benefit out of it and everyone else that is using the product is as well. So it's a really cool it's a really cool system the way that's working right now.
So are you doing stuff with Liquid Death too?
I am. Yeah. So I don't have a discount code with them yet. But I have a link. So I'm gonna have that in my bio pretty soon. I'm getting one of those like link tree things set up. I was trying to figure that all out. So they'll be in that as well. They're just a funny company. I love the idea of it. Just getting rid of a little bit of plastic waste is pretty cool. And just I like the comedic side of it. If you've ever read one of their cans, like it's just it's hilarious. And it's good water. Now they sell them like seltzers and stuff, which is really
Hmm.
cool. Like there's this new one, certified melon or something like
Hmm.
that. They're all funny names, super good. So that's been another company I've been partnering up with. So hoping to start expanding on that a little bit. I haven't done too much with them yet though.
I see Liquid Death around a lot of podcasts. A lot of people are drinking it. Even me and my girlfriend drink them. I have a subscription on Amazon. I get a box every single month. Even though I'm an avid Fiji water drinker, I do like to dip my toes into some Liquid Death sometimes. But
There's
that's
something
kind of
about the
fun.
can. It's so much
Yeah.
better. Everything tastes better out of a can to me for some reason.
It does. It truly does. And there's not a whole lot of waste either because you can recycle cans and you know, I don't, I don't know. It's something about plastic that I'm not really fond of, but I don't know. It's hard
Yeah,
to
I
get me
still
away
use a
from,
ton of it. It's hard to avoid, but any little thing you can do, it's kind of cool. So that's just a cool bonus side of it, I think.
for sure. And they actually got 19-ounce cans now.
Yep, yep.
So that's pretty cool.
I,
We were
I'm
in
gonna get my
Target.
hands on them pretty soon.
Yeah, right. No kidding. Maybe they'll send you some after this podcast. Um, so who else are you working with?
Yeah, so right now I've been with them in the past and back with them now. I'm with 7MX. It's super cool to be a part of a brand like that. Their gear is absolutely incredible. I like as tight a fit of as possible with my gear. I don't want a whole lot of give to it.
Okay, Justin
Especially on
Barsha.
yeah, I mean it's not the coolest style. Like I think the baggy style looks cooler like an Anderson, but I like that it just doesn't move on you at all, especially on starts. Like having your pants to like not give on you and you slide back on the seat is huge.
Hmm.
So I just like everything fitting as tight as possible, and they go right along with that. And just being a part of like a brand that's backed with it started by James Stewart, like it's just really awesome.
A true legend.
Yeah, that by far my favorite growing up to watch, just his style. My favorite rider was Chad Reed, don't get me wrong, but his style, like you can't beat it.
The Bubba Scrub.
Yep. So
Yeah, you
work
definitely
with
can't beat
them.
it.
Work with Spy Optics. I've been with them now 6 years. They've been super awesome to me with their goggles. And then as well, been working with uh, drawing a blank now, EVS Sports, and they've been great with protection side, with roost guards, knee braces, all that, knee pads. So like I said, I don't have a ton of support right now, but the companies that I am working with have been great. There's a lot of other logos on my bike, yours being one of them, um, that I just like to represent because of what they've done for me. It's not like there's directly, some of them are not directly supporting me at this time, but what they've done for me in the past has pushed me leaps and bounds further. The collective experience I have on my bike, they're an internship program. David Drakes is the man. The amount of things that I've been able to experience, learn, he's gotten me different sponsorship deals in the past. Like there's just so much that he's done for me in the past, that I just feel like I have to represent them because of what they've done for me. And I want other people to experience what they can get out of them as well.
Hmm.
So
That's really cool. That's really cool. Um, yeah, I really dig that you put me on your bike this year. It's really cool to see that you want to represent me, and being a really good friend of yours, it's like, all right, well, I can't be there to film with you anymore, living in Minnesota, but it's really cool that you're still gonna, rep me, rep my name, and support me. And I'm gonna do the same, like, sending you out some merch, doing what I can. Um, I think just having that relationship that we have is really, really cool because it's like I don't care if you pay for stuff or whatever. If I send you gear, it's like, I'm helping this kid out because he's following his dream and I want to be part of it.
yeah, and I appreciate it a ton, and that's been the whole thing. I mean, it's hilarious people doing videos and taking pictures of me, and I have paparazzi imaging all over me. I no one said anything to me yet, but I always just get a chuckle out of it, just seeing it blown up on a screen by someone else that's not you.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
But yeah, I'm super grateful for, like you said, everyone that's on my bike, and whether they're supporting me now or they've supported me in the past. And I just like to represent them. I'm trying to get a little bit more support going here soon. been talking to a couple different like small little mom and pop companies about. And that's where the direction I would like to go pretty soon is trying to get a little bit more with the local companies. So
Hmm. And with that, are you going to be doing what did you do a couple of years ago? Was it the Supercross Futures?
I did the race that, yeah.
Yeah, in New Jersey, right?
I raced the one in Indianapolis and Nashville, Tennessee.
Okay. Are you going to try to do that again? Or I don't even know if they're having that. Are they having that?
Yeah, so it's a little bit different now. When I did it, it was the Sunday after. They would like chop the finish line, so it was like lower, so like little bikes could do it. And then like if it was something like really gnarly, they would cut it down a little bit. But like for the most part, the track was the same.
Hmm.
Um, Now it's a little bit different. They cut out like all of the classes. Now it's just the Supercross Futures class, and they're running on Saturday nights with the pros on TV.
Right.
Um, I don't know what it would look like to try and get into that. I still believe I'm a better supercross rider, like an indoor rider, than I am an outdoor rider. It just fits me a little bit more.
Hmm.
So if that is something that's possible, I would love to venture down that. But the overall goal now is I would love to race this coming winter, racing in the either the Kicker Arena Cross or the Hoosier Arena Cross. That's a little bit more chaotic yet. It's so tight. Um, but that's going to be the goal, I think, for that because it's from what I gather, it's a little bit more of an invitational thing to get into Supercross Futures now.
Really?
Yeah. But it makes sense. It does a lot better, I think, for them. There's people that know a lot more what they're doing. There's so many riders that just have never touched a Supercross track before, and if you go and throw them on it, it's chaos. I mean, when I did the futures at Indianapolis, like they were running their medical cart all day. Like
Jeez.
when I was going out for first practice, like I just remember this kid getting like carried off, just bleeding and stuff. And my dad just looks at me, he's like, "You sure you're good for this?" I'm like, I guess.
I
Like
gotta be now. I'm here.
yeah, so it's so gnarly. Like I said, like TV does not do it justice. Even in a stadium, sometimes I just feel like you don't get the full idea of like what you're looking at. Like those whoops are they're like at a local track, they're a double.
Yeah.
It's crazy, and there'll be like 12, 20 of them. Like it's crazy.
It's gnarly for sure. When I went to MetLife Stadium a few years back, they had a set of whip sections out in the uh, the pit area or where where everybody would hang out um, before the show, and it was like we got to look at those, and it was so gnarly how big they are.
Yeah,
I say I would hit them watching Supercross, but then I'm like, I don't know if I would.
yeah, it's such a commitment. They're very terrifying. I even just this past year at Supercross, I was a mechanic for Scotty Winterstrom for about half the day until he crashed himself out, unfortunately. But walking the track with him that morning, I haven't been on a Supercross track in a while. Walking that with him just was like a new reminder of like how crazy it is. Just looking at the lines that everyone's talking about, like you hear a guy like him, or you hear Plessinger talking about a line that he's thinking about that looks like that'll work for him. And it's just like, how are you even seeing this as an option? And then the next
Right.
thing you know, everyone in qualifying is doing it. Like everyone's doing this triple and everyone's doing this, and it's like, yeah, I don't know if I would do it.
That takes some balls to do a section.
Yeah,
Like those
absolutely.
guys do, especially like watching Stewart when he was racing, watching him do a quad. Um, just it's gnarly. I don't
Yeah.
know. Even like even even in snowcross, we see dudes pull sections like that, and I posted a video way back. I think it was like 2019 or something like that. And it was when we were in New York, and it was the one of the pro guy that won the championship the year prior. And I posted a video of him, and I remember seeing your comment and come across it, and you're like, "That is absolutely insane," or something like that, you know?
Those
And
guys blow my mind.
I know, I know, and it's just wild the mindset that you have to be in to want to pull a um a quad out of a section or do some rhythm section that nobody would ever hit, and just
Yep.
looking at that and be like, you're out of your freaking mind, you know?
Yep.
It's
And you
insane.
see like the lower end privateers and stuff like that. Like a big example to me is like locally, there's this guy Nick Desiderio. He's a New Jersey guy. I watched him at a local track a couple weeks ago, and the things he does on just a normal like local motocross track, it's insane. And he's barely a night show guy at a supercross. And you
Wow.
watch him on a supercross track, and he doesn't even look like he knows what he's doing. But you watch him anywhere else, and
Hmm.
he's like, he'll blow your mind fast on the track. And I think that is like, it's just crazy. Like it's a big equalizer for a lot of guys.
I always say that there's always somebody better out there than you,
Mhm.
and it is so true because you only see what you're going to expose yourself to, and when you look outside your bounds, there's so much more talent. There's always going to be a faster dude. There's always going to be a better videographer. There's always going to be somebody better, and they're going to come in and they're just going to, annihilate. And you may think that one dude that's really fast is really fast, but you put him next to somebody that's on a national or supercross pro level, it's like, holy crap, I didn't think you could go any faster, you know? It's
Yeah.
insane. And I kind of compare myself because I know I'm not the best. But in my own head, I have to tell myself I'm the best in order to get to that next level. But I know that there's always going to be somebody better out there. And my buddy Cole Beach, I've worked with him for a long time. You know him, right?
I never met him, but like I know of him very well just from like now I guess he's like doing stuff for Bubbles World, I think.
Yeah, he's actually their media director now. He works for
That's
Seven.
crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. He started off with working for Feld. He got in contact with the collective guys or whatever it was, and and then it kind of just he fell into Feld, and then he started doing his own thing, and then he got in contact with James. So then that's how he got that connection. He was actually going down to Red Bull and working with
Nice.
those guys, and one thing led to another. But that's like an example that I kind of point myself to is that Cole is now on a whole different level. The dude is super artistic. He has such an eye. He is so good at his job. And when he was living in Connecticut doing stuff, at Southwick, trying to get in with motocross, now it's like that dude is top of the caliber, really, really good, if not one of the best. And it's like there's always going to be somebody out there that's way better than you.
Yeah, it's motivating though. It's exciting. At least to me. Knowing that there's just so much more that you can get to. It's very easy to get like trapped in like I have such a far way to go or this or that, but like to me it's just like this is crazy. Like if I dedicate enough time, I can get to this. And I think that's to me that part of it's really exciting.
Yeah, I totally agree too. It's it's that level of wanting to push yourself is what I look at it. It's like you just gotta want to do better than you did yesterday or the day before, because tomorrow's a new day and you can always hone your craft even more. Just like riding a bike when you were 4 years old, it's you rode, you rode, you rode, and now you're to a level that you can look back and be like, I remember when I was just getting into this and I was, dumping the bike every single corner. I didn't want to twist that throttle or whatever. So it's the progress is really cool and trusting the process.
Yeah, and I think that's what keeps us all coming back to like our craft, I think overall. I mean, I can I don't have a whole lot of memories of my childhood. I think I've hit my head maybe too many times. But I have a very strong memory of one the time when I was still on a KDX 50 and there was this hill climb just to get back to our campsite. My growing up riding was just a family trailer deal. I didn't touch a track till I was 16 or 17. Um, and I finally got up this hill for the first time. I remember looking back and seeing my dad with his hands in the air yelling, like super stoked. And then to think, 2019 when I won a heat race at Indianapolis, seeing that same exact expression from him, and just to think, 4-year-old me would have never thought I would have gotten the race on a supercross track. Like it's so easy to get stressed out by those types of things, but then like when you think of it that way, it's just like, man, I don't think this was ever going to be possible. And then it
Mhm.
just excites you to see that like there's so much further that you can go.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Like I said, going back to the trust the process, because you're gonna look back at one day and you're gonna be like, wow, that was crazy. That was crazy that I could get to that point that I was once dreaming of. Um, so now you ride a different brand in motocross. You rode Yamaha for a very long time, ever since I've kind of known you, right?
Yeah, I've been on a Yamaha since I was on a big bike. I was on a Kawasaki when I was on a Super Mini. But then once I got onto a big bike, I started off on a Yamaha 450 actually when I was 13, maybe.
Hmm.
I was young. I was way too small for a 450. Rode that for a year. That thing rode me for a year, I should say. And then I switched to a Yamaha YZ250F, and then I was on them for just about up until I actually stopped riding for a bit. So I've been on Yamaha for most of the time. They've been awesome. I love their bike still. But when I came back, I there's something about a Suzuki I absolutely love. They get a lot of hate these days. Now they're starting to get a little bit popular again because of Rocks and the whole Kickstart Kenny ordeal. But
Yep, yep.
they just they run super well. I do not want a whole lot of power. 450 is too much power for me to begin with. I like a smoother hit. So it being the slower engine fit right up my alley, and they handle just nothing else handles like them. They're so stable. They
Hmm.
corner better than any other bike. Like they almost corner too well to the point of like if you're used to any other bike, you're gonna like almost oversteer because they just go. It's crazy that way. So I've been really stoked to be riding on the RM Army.
And before you got us on a Suzuki, you were kind of testing a couple of different bikes, weren't you?
Yeah, so I rode every brand 450 just about other than the gas. The only other bike that I actually liked maybe just a tiny bit more was the KTM. There was something about that bike. The power was the biggest thing. It was just such a gentle build of power. I loved that bike, but the cost difference between a KTM and a Suzuki compared to what performance I was really getting, it just did not make sense to me to go to that. I liked the Suzuki more than I liked the Honda. I liked it more than the Kawasaki. The Yamahas I liked, but even still, like the Suzuki, I overall was a very close second to the KTM to me.
Hmm.
So it was just a very easy choice. I don't care about an electric start. That's not worth the extras like 6 grand you're gonna put out.
For sure, for sure. All right, Kickstart Kenny.
Yeah.
It's funny that he is now known for that because he's the only one that is well, besides his teammates and what the Bar X Suzuki team that are on Suzuki's that have kickstarts. It's pretty funny that they've kind of come known to that. But um, are you on a 450 or are you on a 250?
I'm on a 450 right now.
Okay,
So yeah,
okay.
it's uh just mostly chassis things that have been done to its suspension. It has an exhaust actually from the old RCH team. So that's the one cool trick part on the bike. But overall it's just all about getting it to handle because like I said, I don't want any more power out of the bike. The only reason I wanted to go to a 450 over the 250s, I was blowing up 250s a lot because of my riding style, like to rev them out a little bit too much, where the 450 doesn't like to do that. So I thought, let's try and get a little bit more reliability. I'll learn how to ride a 450 and just make this things a little bit more, a little cheaper on me because I was getting a little sick of blowing up 250s a lot.
You had that Justin Barcia style.
A little bit, yeah. Especially if I got pretty angry, which when I was my earlier days of racing, I was pretty angry most of the time.
That's funny. That's funny. But before you made the switch to a Suzuki, you were on a YZ250, weren't you?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I did ride a two stroke for my last year of racing before I took a break. That might have been the most fun bike I've ever rode. I hated it when the first like 5 days of riding it. Like I never rode a two stroke other than minis and 65s and stuff. Like I never went from like I didn't ride a 125 or anything like that. Like I said, I went from straight from a KX 100 to a 450. And so I never really rode two strokes. And I struggled on it at first, but once I started to figure out what it did well,
Hmm.
I absolutely loved that thing. And I did pretty well on it for the amount of time I got to ride that year. That was kind of like my swan song kind of year at that time of like, yeah, I'm just gonna go have fun this last year and then we're gonna wrap it up. And I thought I was gonna be done, obviously not. But yeah, that bike was given to me by my brother-in-law. He supported me with that, and it was it just came it came over time to be really fun. I didn't get to race as much as I wanted to that year on that bike, but the races I did do, I had a blast on. There's something about the two strokes; they're so fun. I
Yeah.
actually have it sitting out there right now, but it has a blown up engine that I got to rebuild. So
Oh no, are you gonna give
yeah,
it back to your brother-in-law?
yeah, I will give it back to him once I'm done with it. I was thinking about doing a couple races on it this year, but we'll see how it all pans out. It needs a few things yet, so
Did you feel like James Stewart out there on that thing?
no.
No?
No, I felt like I could kind of flick the thing around better than any other bike. It just felt very free to ride. Like I feel like I was the loosest I've ever been on a bike on that one. Like I just felt like I could move anywhere around on that bike. I felt like um I always knew what it was going to do, which is kind of shocking for being a two stroke. It was just very comfortable eventually once I kind of figured out that whole learning curve of no engine braking, just the different characteristics that a two stroke does so much differently.
Hmm. Yeah, it's definitely two different feels. I remember when I used to race, I went from a 350 Banshee to a 450 four-stroke Honda, and it was just like, holy crap, this is totally different. I got to learn how to ride this thing and change my whole riding position and everything too, because it was two different bikes, Yamaha to Honda, and it's just like, holy crap, this is insane. But riding a Honda it came second nature to me after a while. But I'm sure, yeah. You said after what, riding 5 days, you kind of got the hang of it.
Yeah, once we got a couple days on the belt, it came pretty easily once we went from there. It just took seat time really.
Yeah, yeah, that's really cool. So what's the future look for you?
So this year, it's all just been local so far. So I've been following the District 6 series that is around me. It's all pretty much within like a 3 to 4 hour drive for all the races. So it's pretty easy that way. And the main goal for that moving forward is I just want to be at every single round. Um, get the laps in. I mean, if you look at like the guys like Adam C and Cirillo, like they just constantly were saying like I just want to do the laps. That's been kind of the goal for me. It's just build slowly, get a real base going because I've come from so many injuries that I would come out of one and just hit the ground running as fast as I could, and it would sometimes work out, but it oftentimes would be again just two steps forward, one step back type of thing.
Hmm.
So I just want to be at every round. I was talking to my family about it. I never went through 4 consecutive races without an injury in my life, and that's embarrassing in a sense, but as well, it's been exciting now because I've been through 4. We've been doing consistently better every single round. I've been moving, inching forward, and that's been exactly the goal. I did not expect to be on the podium last weekend. If someone would have told me that after the first round, I probably would have laughed at them. So it's just gonna try and keep that steady mindset, not let the peaks and valleys get so high and low, and just kind of try and ride them out more smoothly. And that's something, again, learning from hockey. There's so much happening so quickly that it's so easy to make a mistake and a play goes wrong and different things like that. And that's something my coach really taught me was just to be able to let things kind of go over your shoulder and just focus on your next movement, your next play, your next whatever, and making it just a little bit more a steady ride. Um, and that's been the main goal. Like I said, I'm going to race local. I'd like to race arena cross this coming winter, and focus on that a good bit. Um, but The a dream for me is in Canada they throw there's no B class. They put B guys right with the 250 pro guys, and they're all in one gate. And personally, I think my skill set is on that endurance side. And in a local race, you really just don't get that. I think I proved to myself and some other people at that hair scramble I did a couple weeks ago, like I can go for a long time. I
Hmm.
might not have that all the way sprint speed, but if I could hop in like a 30 plus two, I think I could do pretty well. I don't think I'm going to be anything crazy at a pro national, but I think it would suit me better and I would have a good time with it. So that's a goal for me moving forward. I'd like to do a couple rounds of that. Planning to do one in August, depending on what the bike situation looks like, because I need to get on a 250 for that. So
Hmm. Oh, that's gonna
yeah.
be a change of pace for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll be getting lapped for sure. I'm sure. I mean, Justin Bogle's racing that class, so like, yeah, it's crazy.
Good luck.
Yeah. Just
Well,
there again, make fun, have fun with it, make memories with it. Um, I think that's what's my Instagram has been slowly trying to build towards is just have a almost like yearbook type look of stuff to be able to look back on, stuff to remember. Um, like I said, I don't think I'm ever going to be anything great, but I would love to have a family one day, and if I can just maybe give the tiniest little picture to just show like don't give up, like
hmm.
who cares what comes of it, just apply yourself your best you can, and just try to be a role model for that. And I mean, even just now, currently, just trying to be a role model for people. I'm not one in the sense of like a web or of speed or anything like that, but just to be the best version you can be, and trying to apply yourself that way.
That's a good way to look at it for sure. It's definitely a good way to look at it. Um, so I don't really have anything else. Is there anything you want to touch on? We have a few more minutes here before the Zoom call ends.
I
Um,
think that's about all for now. My it's been it's been steady right now. I mean, like I said, just trying to have the most fun with it, and it's been going really well that way. And I think that's something that I just want to push on other people is you might be some slow guy right now, you might forever be a slow guy right for moving forward, but that just might be your perspective. You might be slow in the grand scheme of it, but did you make progress within your time that you're using and spending it? um, and just again trying to be whatever the best outcome you personally can get out of the day, and not to focus on so much the result, because it takes all the fun out of it. And I know it's very hard to, because I've been told a million times by family, friends, like just go have fun, just go ride your own race. And it's so easy to say, but once you're there, maybe not for other people, I don't know, but it's very hard for me to just be like, okay, I'm okay with losing in a sense. And I mean, if you're at a race and you get like 30, 40 guys on a gate and there can only be one winner, and
mhm.
to even just be like in that top 10, think about being the guy that's 40th. Like it's just changing the perspective of being thankful for where you're at and the progress that you're making rather than where you thought you would be or where you think you should be. And it just makes everything so much more enjoyable. I haven't smiled so much at races ever up until this year, and I mean all of them I've been pretty much by myself. Like this past race, I think I maybe talked to like two people the entire day, and I was
Mhm.
having a blast just because it's what I love. It's what there's nothing that beats that. And I feel like there's most other things, if you're just doing it by yourself and this and that, it's like kind of takes a lot of it away from it. But it just proved to me how much I really love this, and can't stress that enough for other people. Even if it's not moto, just focus on what you really actually love and just chase after that with your whole heart.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Go after your dreams and have fun with it.
Yeah, but like I said, I'd also say, like, I mean, I come across super serious sometimes, and if you know me personally, I'm not a serious person whatsoever. I think about things so deeply, so in a podcast setting and different things like that, I probably come across so like not trying to be like a motivational guy or anything like that. Like if you know me, I'm just an absolute goofball, but I think about things super deeply. So if you're listening to this, you might think like I'm just some stuck my butt type guy, but like I promise I'm just a goofball like everyone else, and people that know me know that. So
It's
I
all
just feel like
good.
I had to say that.
It's all good. It's all good. No worries. Okay, so where can everybody find you on Instagram and Facebook?
So I'm at Robbie Good 419 on all social media platforms, and then Facebook just Robbie Good. I've said this for a long time that I'm gonna like get like serious with YouTube, but I've actually have like 2 videos ready to go right now. I'm trying to get like a good amount done just in case like if something comes up time, like I just want to be able to actually have like consistent posts going. So very soon I'm gonna have a YouTube going, and that'll just be Robbie Good as well. So I'm super excited to start pushing those out. So we'll see how they turn out. They're not the greatest. I'm not the best at that type of thing, but it's just again another avenue of uh giving my story out a little bit and just something to be able to look back on, maybe be proud of, maybe make fun of myself. Who knows? So,
Hey, that's all. It's all good and fun.
yeah.
It's a little bit nerve-wracking for me to do a podcast too, but the more that I do it, the more comfortable I get. So I definitely feel you on that. But um, let's wrap up here. We only got a minute and 45 seconds. So I'll do, um, yeah, so this is episode 8. Robbie Good. Thank you for being on the podcast. If you guys liked this podcast, hit that thumbs up, hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube. And I appreciate you being on the podcast, Robbie. It's always good to talk with you. It's always good to have a good laugh and talk about, the things that are going on in life and just having a different perspective. So I appreciate you being on the show, like I said, and hopefully I'll be on the East Coast and we can get some sick videos done.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you for having me on again. Let's do this more. I feel like if we get it often enough, you could get some pretty funny stuff out of each other. So
For sure. For
so
sure.
yeah, let's do this again. I appreciate the time tonight, and anytime I get to do something like this, it's fun because it's challenging, it's scary. So I
Yeah,
appreciate it a ton.
absolutely. All right. Thank you, man.